dedicated to everything that's right. Keep unity and equality in La Trinity.
It's one heart, one soul, so brave, so bold. We building stronger, growing together. We climbing higher and we reaching further. It's one heart, one soul.
Welcome back, folks. It's 24 minutes before 8 o'clock, and this is a patriotic morning edition. Well, we want to talk about some important services that the differently abled can access. There's a regional video assistance service that helps the deaf to communicate directly with persons who hear or who are also deaf. Now, this is a service that can be accessed using a free mobile app. You know, everything is by virtue of an app these days. And the service also provides sight assistance for the blind. It's technology that could revolutionize the way people with disabilities communicate with each other and how they communicate with the hearing and sighted community. The Caribbean Video Assistance Service is being spearheaded by the Caribbean Telecommunications Union in conjunction with VTC Secure. Consultant Trevor Prevatt and publications and promotions consultant Sonja Johnson, they're here to explain the technology. Folks, welcome to Morning Edition. Great to have you here.
Thank you so very much for having us.
Let me start with you, Sonja. In terms of this technology, why is it going to change the way people communicate?
I think for now, this type of technology has really been available for a few years in more developed countries, maybe using proprietary software and so on. But in the Caribbean, this is not something that is readily available. And actually, from what we understand, it's not available at all. So from that point, it's innovative for us here in the Caribbean.
Yes.
And I could ask Trevor to expand.
Yeah.
So tell us the basis of the technology.
Well, the basis of the technology is a platform called SOLVS, which is Secure Online Video Enablement Solution. And so that's at the back end. What that does is that it enables agents who are sign language interpreters to communicate with people who are deaf, hard of hearing, who can't see, and they use an application on their video. They would use it on their tablet or smartphone, which is called PUC, Personal Universal Communicator. It's a free app. You can download it from the internet, either on your Android or your Apple phone. You can download it onto your PC or your Mac, and you can communicate with it. Think of it as like WhatsApp, but it's more powerful than WhatsApp. So you use the PUC application to communicate with the agents who will be operating off of the SOLVS platform.
Right. And what really interests me in particular is how was this developed? What were the catalysts that brought this about?
Well, really, it was a situation where, as Sonja said a little earlier, this sort of system has been available for a long time in the developed countries. I've encountered it in Colombia as well.
Yes.
But it tends to use proprietary software.
Right.
So it's an expensive proposition.
Because of the licensing requirements.
Yes, and also the actual technology that you would use. Because if you've seen some of this older stuff, it would be connected to your TV. You'd have to have a video monitor on top of your TV so that you could be seen, and you would be able to communicate with the agent on the other side of the TV, if you would. But what has happened, VTC Secure developed PUC through working with the Federal Communications Commission in the United States. And it's an open source, so it's a free application.
Okay.
The FCC, I think, just did it from a social responsibility point of view.
Yes.
And that has enabled the software costs and the whole cost of the solution to be driven right down, which is where we've been able to pick up on it and hoping to introduce it as soon as possible into the Caribbean.
I mean, it's fantastic work that you've done here. Sonja, could you tell me, in terms of the hearing impaired, the seeing impaired community in Trinidad and Tobago, have they responded well to this opportunity?
Oh yes, they have. I mean, the Caribbean, the CTU, as we say, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, has done quite a bit of work in terms of workshops and so on with the persons with disabilities. So this was a natural next step in terms of getting something that they could use because technology is really meant to enable. So this is what this has allowed us to do. So because we have that kind of engagement, we were able to understand some of the needs. Of course, there's a lot more that we need to find out and determine. But again, this is a good first step in terms of making sure that they are included within our society.
But when you look at the broad landscape of support in the Caribbean in particular, that is expected to really provide or make life a little easier, a little better for the differently abled, are you encouraged that we're making the right steps?
Oh yes, I think now, especially with the onset of technology and the exposure that people are getting, you're able to see now what is out there, what is available. And we don't want to be left behind as a region. I mean, we all have a collective responsibility that we take care of all persons, whether differently able or otherwise. And
this is an interesting point of view, because Trevor, is it that we're always playing catch up, or is it that we can really be more proactive in the development of technologies that can really assist the differently abled community?
Well, I think to a certain extent we are playing catch up. But I think that we have to, as you're suggesting, need to move forward from being sort of reactive but seeing how, because there are a lot of application developers here in the Caribbean who could come up with these sort of applications as well. So I think we have to try and move beyond this. We have to try and ensure that we live up to what's called digital inclusions, that we really get everybody in the community has equal access. And importantly, there's a convention on the rights of people with disabilities which talks about accessibility and making sure that technology is available to people with disabilities.
Is it that the providing support, providing services, providing products to the differently abled community that many developers, whether app developers or hardware developers, that they consider that the economics is not strong enough and therefore they're not interested?
There's largely that sort of thinking, but there is a lot. There's that community is much more powerful than people realize. Their spending power is much more powerful. And the thing is, it's really like if you leave out a section of your community, you're doing your economy, your community an injustice.
True.
So they have a right, basically, to access. And if you think about it, architects, when they go to school for architecture, they learn how to provide an accessible building. And we need to see that happening for IT, where when you're developing an application, you think accessibility, so you build it in from the word go, as opposed to thinking
and
about
that's the thing, Sonja. Are Caribbean governments really taking this issue of accessibility seriously? Are they imposing the required legislative changes to ensure that there's compliance with the accessibility issue, regardless of the industry, that this accessibility issue must be treated with? Are the governments taking this thing seriously enough?
Certainly we at the CTU have raised these types of issues and matters before the government as an intergovernmental organization, and I must say that we are heartened that we're seeing some progress being made by the governments, but of course there's always a lot
You're
more
being
work
polite,
to do. I'm saying that because I mean we have seen now, because like when we decided to launch this service, we saw the response from governments. Pick me, I want to do this first. So clearly that is an indicator that they understand the importance of having these kinds of services.
And also just the same convention on the rights of people with disabilities I was talking about. Most Caribbean governments are signatories to it.
That's correct.
And then what happens, you sign up to it, and then you also become, I think you have to actually sort of make it part of your law. I'm trying to remember the term. But when you do that, you'll have certain responsibilities. A person with disabilities, if they feel that they've been discriminated against by your country, basically you can go to the UN and say, and your government has signed up to this, so that therefore you can almost take them to court. It's not quite as bad as that. It's similar to that.
But it's an appeal for
it's an appeal, right, for
justice
redress
on this matter.
That's right.
Sonja, last word to you. In terms of the differently able community, for the folks who may not have heard about this service and how revolutionary it is, where can they source additional information?
Of course, you could get information on this service via the CTU's website, which is www.ctu.int.
.int. Okay.
So you can find information under projects. We have various projects that we do at the CTU. This is definitely one of them.
Yes.
We also did a demonstration earlier this year. So we actually have a presentation that includes some of the clips from that that demonstration also online, so people can really see the power of this particular service.
Fantastic. This is great work, and I want to congratulate you and the CTU for, you know, this kind of forward-looking engagement. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, folks, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We still have another item for you. How can we leave out our most important artists of the day? They will be here before we wrap today's show, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.